Hello and welcome to Explorer Classroom. My name is Gina Borgia. I am a member of the National Geographic Education team, and I am so glad you are joining us today. Many of our viewers have just gone back to school, so we hope you are getting a great year started and are happy that you include National Geographic education in your experiences. At National Geographic, we use the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to illuminate and protect the wonder of our world. Explorer Classroom connects students worldwide with our National Geographic Explorers for short lessons and time for your questions. This school year, each month will be organized around a specific theme. And this September, Explorer Classroom will be exploring different ecosystems and the importance of conservation. Today, our explorer is Rachael Miller. Rachael is a conservationist who focuses on protecting the ocean and keeping it clean from big pieces of fishing gear, tiny pieces of plastic, and everyday items. When our everyday trash escapes trash cans and our recycling systems, it can be eaten by ocean animals, which is not good for their health, and our ocean's health. Today, Rachael will help us better understand ocean ecosystems and how pollutants like everyday trash can be kept out of this important habitat. Before we get into the lesson, I would like to welcome all of our registered viewers who join us today from around the globe, with special shout outs going to Central Woodlands Grade School, Stillwater Christian School, Simon's Homeschool, West Park Elementary, National Sun Yat Sen University, Lakewood Local School District. We are so thrilled to have you all here and everybody else who is tuning in today. And with that, let's get this Explorer Classroom started. I'm going to turn it over to Rachael to share all about conserving marine ecosystems. You can take it away, Rachael.
Thank you, Gina, and hello, learners everywhere. Do we have any ocean lovers watching this? Raise your hand. How about rivers or lakes or even a pond? Did everybody go for a swim somewhere natural this summer and loved it? Well, I love the ocean and lakes and rivers, and my job is to protect them. And I do that for a couple reasons. One is because we all need a clean ocean, a thriving ocean. We need the creatures in the ocean to have a safe place to live and swim and breed and migrate. And also because I love it. Being in and around the water brings me joy. And that's one of the reasons that I do this work. Now, my team and I, we protect the ocean by working on the problem of marine debris, or you could also call that ocean trash. And that also counts for trash that you might find in rivers and lakes. So let me share my screen and show you how we do that. We have 4 strategies that we use. One is doing data cleanups. So that means we do a cleanup, but we go an extra step to record everything that we pick up so we can learn about it and prevent it. We also do prevention through education programs like this and ones in person. We love innovation and technology, and we do solutions-based research. We do our work on the shoreline, which you can just walk up to, but we also work on the surface of the sea. And you can see we've just done a little cleanup. You see in that net, we've got a happy birthday balloon. We find a lot of balloons in the ocean. And we also work on the sea floor. And we do that without throwing anybody overboard. And so I would like to introduce you to our remotely operated vehicle, ROV, or underwater robot. That's Hector the Collector. And Hector helps us understand what's underwater and even helps us pick it up. We do a lot of our work, especially in the summer, from our sailing oceanographic research vessel called American Promise. Here she is doing a little net tow. And in order to get from place to place, we love having a sailboat. So when there's wind, we can sail and not use any fossil fuels. Sometimes we also have to get out our small boats to get to islands or hard to reach shorelines, or to just use them as a little trash barge. And we do our work really where you all are. in urban, inland, and coastal waters around the country, in the Northeast on American Promise, but around the country and the world when we're just traveling, because that's where most of the trash comes from, and that's where all the people who are going to be part of the solutions live. There are a couple categories of marine debris that we work on. One is called derelict fishing gear. So you can think of that as the bits of buoys or traps or fishing nets that are broken or disconnected and they're still floating around or they end up on shorelines. We work on what we collectively call consumer debris, and that's everyday items like you all and we use as well. And we also work on microplastics, the smallest version of this problem. Now, this can all be kind of a big, scary, and somewhat upsetting problem, but we're optimistic. We're optimistic because we recognize that it's the people who made this problem sort of collectively, and we think not on purpose, but it is happening. And so we believe that we, people, collectively can fix it. So when I think about a problem and trying to come up with solutions, I always want to understand it the best I can and to consider that problem in a lot of ways. So let's start with, why is marine debris bad? It's certainly ugly, but there's more to it than that. One reason is it's bad for the animals. There's a lot of ways that happens. One example you might have heard of before is that turtles can think that plastic bags and even balloons are jellyfish and they can eat them. And that doesn't work out very well for the turtle. Now, we also find that creatures can get what we call entangled in marine debris. And we found some examples of that. This crab in the bottom picture, that crab is kind of stuck in rope that's attached to that lobster trap. And we were able to cut the crab free and let him go. This other example is a crab that somehow got stuck in a glass bottle, and we set them free as well. It's also bad for the habitat that the animals live in. No one wants to live in a place that looks like this. It's bad for humans in multiple ways. Think about a beautiful beach and the little shops and people that make their living because it's a great place to go to, like ice cream shops. What if that beach were covered in trash and everyone stopped going? Well, that means no one would go to the ice cream shop and they would have to close. And so keeping our waterways and beaches clean so that people can enjoy them is good for our communities, which means that marine debris can be bad for our communities. And it can be bad for people's health in very specific ways. The bigger items can be something that we accidentally step on. And there's even evidence that we might be eating some of the microplastic, and nobody wants that. Now, thinking about what's out there, because if we're going to prevent it, we need to know what's out there. Here are these are the top 5 types of marine debris that are found worldwide, mostly on shorelines. And so except for cigarettes, all of this is something that we all use. You can see plastic bottles for drinks, food wrappers, plastic bottle caps that go with those bottles, and plastic bags as well. So now you have to think, well, if all that stuff starts in a grocery store and goes to our homes, how does it end up in the ocean? And there are a couple ways that happens. One is through a combination of inadequate infrastructure. So that means not enough opportunities to throw it away. So this is an example of this place clearly needs a bigger or more trash cans. A combination of that and a combination of people being, in this case, pretty lazy. Hopefully all of you are looking at this and saying, I would not leave my trash on this not functioning trash can. You'd keep walking and make sure that your trash, and a lot of this is recycling anyway, gets to the right place. There are consequences to this kind of overflowing trash can scenario. In this one you're looking at, this stuff could get blown by a pretty light wind straight into the water. But if this were happening on a city street, the trash can still make its way to our bays or lakes or rivers. And this is how it happens. Picture that trash falling off of a trash can and then getting run over by a car. It'll break it up into little pieces, and then the rains come. So the thunderstorm happens and a bunch of rain falls. All that gets washed down into a storm drain. And storm drains are most often connected directly to our public waterways. What we're looking at here is a storm drain in Boston after a rainstorm that is spitting out a piece of trash every 10 seconds, and sometimes even less than that. There's a food wrapper. We just saw a bunch of other food wrappers. We had cigarettes, bottles, plastic bags, all getting transferred from the street to the ocean through a storm drain. Weather events can also be a contributor to the problem. And this isn't something that this isn't deliberate. And so things like, again, rainstorms, floods, hurricanes, that kind of thing can also be the cause for marine debris escaping and getting into our environment. So now I'd like teachers, warm up your typing fingers. Those of you who are in front of a keyboard, warm up your typing fingers. Everybody else, get ready. We're going to play Guess That Marine Debris. Okay, we're going to start with an easy one. So here's a piece of trash that we find frequently. I'm going to say that you are all saying this is a balloon, but did you realize that this balloon started out bright red and the sun bleached it out until it was clear? And what I think is interesting here is that this balloon has been in the water long enough to become clear and lose pretty much all of its red, but it's still intact, which means it can still be dangerous. Okay, everyone, I want you to shout out your answers for the next one so that your teachers know what to write. Okay, in the chat, what do you think this is? Name that marine debris. If you are looking at this and guessing a plastic shopping bag, you've got it. You can see the handles right there. And this black thing, that's Hector the Collector's grippers. So we're bringing it up from the bottom. All right, let's do another one. Okay, what are we looking at, everybody? It is a plastic cup, but you got it, nice. What we found here is that plastic can be the base for communities of microorganisms. And that's what's happening here. You have a little bit of growth on there. Okay, now this one, I'll say you're probably saying this is a cup. All right, so you're right on that. But I'd like everyone, raise your hand if you vote that this cup is made of plastic. Do we have any people who think it's plastic? Okay, do we have anyone who thinks it's made of glass? Glass. Okay, so for everyone who just voted, I thought so too. I was the one flying the ROV when we did this. And I thought, oh, look at this. It's like a ceremonial special cup of like special glass, and it's fancy. In the end, it was just a plastic wine cup. I have to say I was surprised. Okay, here's a bunch of items. By now, my guess is you've got this. This should look familiar. If you've guessed a pile of metal cans like beer or soda cans, you're right. This is at 38 feet under the water in Boston Harbor. Okay, what do you think this is? Anyone have some guesses? I'll give you a hint. It's sort of in the theme of the last couple items, and it's falling apart. If you're looking at this and you've guessed corroded rusty beer can or soda can, you are right. That is what happens when you put this kind of metal in the ocean. All right, here's the next one, everyone. This is not an onion ring, just in case that's what you were guessing. It's not a piece of calamari. What are your guesses? I'll give you a hint. Long-haired people. Long-haired people might be using one right now. It is a hair scrunchie that was sitting on the bottom of the ocean for a while. Okay, this is sort of in the same theme. This is fabric. It is a piece of clothing. Some of you may be wearing a pair of these now, and that language should help you guess. What do you think? If you guess jeans, you are right. We found a pair. Oh, somebody got it. Nice. Pair of jeans. Again, this was in a different part of Boston Harbor. All right, we're getting near the end. I'll circle this item in case it's unclear. This is in Chicago, in the Chicago River, and no one wants to lose this. No one wants to lose your jeans either, I understand. But this one, some of you may have used this to get to school. You may go and play with this in a special place after school. Are those hints helping? Do we have any skateboarders in the house? Yes. All right. That's what that is. Definitely no one meant to lose that. All right. Getting into advanced one here. I'll circle the object. It's hard to see. This is in the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. And this was a hard one. We didn't know what it was. It was actually pretty hard to recover. It is not a roll of toilet paper, if you were guessing that. Anyone guessing a roll of duct tape? Some people guessed a roll of duct tape. That's incredible. Awesome. All right. Incredibly as well, we were able to unwrap some of it, and even it was sticky. All right. This is, I think, our last one. This is not underwater. This was a fuzzy thing that we found on the ground. We have only found one of these in 12 years of cleanup. If you guessed fake mustache, you are right. I don't know if anyone has guessed that. All right, so I'm going to wrap this part up with what I call our underwater highlights. These are some of our favorite underwater moments, and they're not all about trash. But the first one is a high-speed example of how Hector the Collector, this is called, we call a double grab, picked up 2 cups and put them in the net so that they're out of the ocean forever. Here's what happens when you get too close to a crab and he tells you to go away. Boom, go away. We don't like to bother the wildlife, so we went away. All right, raise your hand when you see the sea creature. Do you see the sea creature? Who sees it? Who sees it? The flounder right at the bottom. It's going to swim away. It's pretty cool. So camouflaged. And this last video is sonar. This is when we use a device that sends out sound signals, and the computer translates them into light and shadow. And when you do this, it's the shadow that gives the most information. So I want you to look at the shadow and see if you can figure out what this is. It is not trash. The bright part is what we'd call our target, right at the bottom, and the shadow shows its shape. Look at that. Can you see the shape of a fish swimming? I think this is one of the coolest types of underwater technology, that when sometimes you just can't see with a camera, with visual, you use sound waves instead. All right. Now, the fact is that as much fun as it is to play Name That Marine Debris, none of that really should be in our waterways. I'm sure you'd all agree. Now, what hopefully you'll also all agree is that all of us, no matter what age, can be part of the solutions to this problem. And there's multiple solutions. So here's some of my recommendations for you. The first one is delicious. So this should be a really easy and tasty one. When you go to an ice cream shop, when it's possible, think about getting a cone instead of a cup and spoon. That way, instead of making 2 pieces of trash, you really don't make any trash at all, and it is extra delicious. Many of you are probably already packing reusable containers for your lunch, but you can raise your game and take it to the next level with reusable utensils. I also think that it's important to understand the marine debris problem where you live. You are from all over the world, and we each have slightly different problems. And the more we know about a problem, the more effective we can be about solving it. And so I recommend using techniques and tricks like the marine debris tracker, which helps you collect data while doing a beach cleanup. And if you do beach cleanups, remember, use gloves and don't touch anything that's sharp or medical. So don't touch any masks or personal things like that. And you can just write down what's there. And then you'll know if maybe you have more straws or more plastic bags. And when you do learn about the place where you live, think about communicating what you learn. And remember that you can communicate in so many ways with words, for those of you that are good with words. Some of you may love drawing and pictures. Some of you may love thinking in 3 dimensions and doing sculptures or even videos, but it all matters. I am so excited to get to answer your questions and appreciate being part of your classrooms today. Take it away, Gina.
Wow, thank you so much, Rachel, for that presentation and that incredible look into your work about why conserving ocean habitats is so important. And I was especially surprised to see the range of items that you've encountered in the water. And Mrs. Dill's class was saying that they were also surprised how things change color over time underwater.
It's incredible.
So, yeah, and I bet many of our viewers are interested in joining your mission, no matter where they are in the world. So could you review how we can best support your work from our own communities?
I appreciate that. And to make it easier, I'm just going to do another quick screen share and say that for people of all ages, whether you're a learner or a teacher or homeschooling, that rosaliaproject.org, we have lots of resources, as well as link to the debris tracker and even printable data cards. And also the Nautilus Live website is a place where there's going to be a lot of resources about our work and other National Geographic Explorers work as well. So there's some really good opportunities out there. And the one thing about the marine debris tracker that I want to say is that when you do that work and use their app, that goes to a global database. So you know that you're not only learning about your own region, but you're contributing information that helps researchers who are working on the problem globally understand the problem and help come up with solutions for it.
Thank you so much for sharing those resources with us, Rachel, and for that call to action. I'd like to invite all of our viewers from around the world interested in helping to conserve marine habitats to give a big high five to Rachel as a big sign of support. I know that I'm in too. All right, it is. I see lots of high fives. Well, thank you so much again, Rachel, for being here with us today and for sharing about your incredible work and for answering all of these amazing questions from our students. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I love doing this. Thank you all for including me in your day.
Absolutely. It is such a pleasure. And it is a pleasure. Thank you, all of you students and teachers out there. Happy back to school and a happy National Hispanic Heritage Month, which just started today. I hope you join many more of our events over the course of the school year. Our next event for ages 9 to 14 will be next Thursday, September 22nd. We'll be joined by National Geographic Explorer and ecologist Nigel Golden to learn all about the effects of climate change on Arctic ecosystems and his work specifically with the Arctic squirrel. So you won't want to miss this one. Be sure to register for this event and more at natgeoed.org/explorerclassroom. You can request an on-screen spot for a chance to be featured up here on screen with us as well. Teachers, we've also created a new interactive guide for you to share with your students to take them on a learning journey with each of our explorers. So you can find the Explorer Mindset in Action Guide and the Teacher Edition linked in each of our registration pages, and we'll also pop that into the YouTube chat so that you can access that. Have a great day, everyone. Stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and keep exploring out there. We'll see you next time.